Welcome to the Nailed It Wall.
Welcome to episode 19 of the Nailed It Wall. This week, we're going to talk about some epic wins. We're going to talk about some super great losses. And we're going to talk about the release of our new favorite movie, Playing with Fire. Woo! When's it coming out, Mrs. Scofield?
November 8th.
Get your popcorn ready, people. So buckle up and enjoy the ride. Welcome to the Nailed It Wall. I'm Mr. Lan'e, the STEM guy.
And I'm Mrs. Scofield.
Well, it feels like we went on a little vacation. Did you go anywhere these last 2 weeks?
No. I feel like I should have a really good story, and I don't have one, but it felt like forever.
I know. We recorded a 2-part series with Mrs. Basil and Dr. Chunis, and it kind of gave us a little break. We had these 2 episodes pre-recorded, and I feel like we haven't sat down and recorded a pod. Like, it just becomes part of, like, your routine, and the last 2 Sundays felt a little empty without recording the pod.
It's true. And not only that, but you have all these experiences, and this is such a great place to, like, where you come and you process that, and you reflect on all of that. And so without that, it's like we've just been keeping this epically long list of all these things. We
didn't want to miss anything. I think that was the hardest part. It was like, this happened and this happened, and we're going to share this on the pod, and just so much happened in the last 2 weeks.
It's like Finch, his whole, if it wasn't on Twitter, it didn't happen. I feel like same for the pod. It's becoming that place.
No, it totally does. And it's truly a reflection. Like, when I go back and I look at the recaps, I'm like, oh, this happened, and we did this here, and this was so much fun. And I love looking at that. And those recaps, they are, a time capsule of our lives as parents and teachers.
That's true. It really is. And so I was super excited. I genuinely looked forward all week. I was like, I'm so excited. We get to, like, sit down and talk about all the stuff that's happened and, just really have that time. So I've been really excited about it.
Like we start every episode, we want to talk about how we nailed it the last 2 weeks, and how we failed the last 2 weeks.
Well, 2 weeks off allows you to accumulate a lot of nailed it, failed it. But so I have well more than just my typical, but I'm gonna keep it brief. For my nailed it in a bad way, I had several of those, right? So. One of them was, as you were so good about reminding me, so I like to do this ThingLink. Have you tried ThingLink? I forget.
I have not tried it yet, but you've been telling me forever. Well, tell us what ThingLink is.
So ThingLink is a website where you can go, and actually if you do a paid version, which I think I'd like to try and upgrade at some point, but you can go in and create 360 views of, like, any place. So it would kind of be like a Google 360, but you can put pins in different places. So you can create a tour, and you can add in videos and different, let's see, what else? You can link documents and pictures and facts and all these things. But basically, it's like a digital, what would you say? Kind of a way that you can explain different things. So, like, how I use it in my classes, they're allowed to upload a picture, and then for their animal adaptations, they're going to put pins that are places that people click on, and it gives them facts. So it'll give them facts about different adaptations that animal has, behaviorally or structurally or whatever. And then they also need to include a YouTube video that kind of explains that animal's adaptations. And then they're like, depending on what you're doing, you could, as I said, if it's like a location, you can link in things about that culture or things about the climate or whatever. It's really amazing.
They come out amazing. Like,
I love them.
They are so cool. Like, what your group did last year was so awesome.
I loved it.
Talk about, like, the enhanced learning.
Yeah, I really, really love it. And I like to do things that I know the kids haven't been exposed to, just because when they go and do projects, I want them to have a lot of different options as far as how they can demonstrate their understanding and their learning. And so I like to put another tool in their toolbox. And so they really tend to like this one a lot. But signing in has a lot of kinks. It really does. And so I had a lot of snags. Third period, bless them, they always just roll with everything. They're my guinea pig class. And so we tried to figure out, like, what kind of account you have to sign up to get it. And it was kind of a hot mess third period. Thankfully, based on things that we figured out with them, I was able to kind of fine tune that for the rest of the class. And it was amazing. And their stuff it's just like such enhanced learning, and they really understand concepts so much, but then they have to be able to navigate different sites and be able to, figure out how you make things do. And I didn't tell them everything. I kind of briefly showed them, but I want them to problem solve. Like, well, how, like, get in there and see if you can figure some of these things out with your peers and all that. And what they're able to do is pretty cool. I love it.
That's pretty awesome. Now, were there any other failures? You had an epic failure that you need to share.
Yeah.
Your meow bit.
Oh, yeah.
Your meow bit. This is from Adafruit, and we've been waiting for this order. I kid you not, like 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Every Thursday, like we're attacking the pallet. And when you came to my classroom, I took these happy, joyous pictures of you opening the box, and then that joy quickly turned to sorrow.
It was. I still, to be quite honest, I still don't know what I was thinking. I just don't know how I missed this whole thing. But
the meow bits are for like MS Make code for everyone listening. They're kind of like a miniature Game Boy. So like where kids can take their code and then they can play video games like in an instant, like on these little things. And you ordered 20, I ordered 10. And then, so that way we have 30. So we have a class set between both of us.
Yeah, thank God yours didn't get ordered because there was some kind of a back order, and it, so we had to postpone yours, which I look at that now.
This would have been my failed story right now.
I mean, so in a lot of ways, I'm really glad that was the case. But so basically what I ordered, as we sadly figured out pretty quickly, was like the silicone cover, which will cover the actual physical part where you download the game into, and it didn't come with the cords to download it. It was a lot of sadness.
Or the most important thing, the battery.
The battery is hugely. It's just all so important, and it was really sad. And then what I loved, like the kids that were in your class that day, they were just like, what, they were just looking at that, and so what was the person saying, like, you spent all this money on this, like what'd you even get? And they kept going on and on. I was so devastated.
And then remember, I ran out to look at the pallet. I'm like, maybe there's another box. I'm like, there must be some kind of mistake here.
You have become a very optimistic person, and I really admire that. And I'm
trying. You're rubbing off on me.
Yeah, I knew just as soon as we opened them, I'm like, I think there's been a horrible mistake here. And then, sure enough, you pulled up the site, and
I almost called them. I was like, how dare you send us all these without the boxes?
Yeah.
But then underneath it, there's like 3 different options of like different types of batteries, and these are like unique batteries that fit in this like small little container.
Yeah, these lithium
from Adafruit. I guess it's Adafruit, and we got 0 of those. So we have 20 of these meow bits that have no batteries or cords to download.
We just basically have a lot of silicone. Like, that's what we have, is a lot of silicone. So it'll be fine, but it's a failed it for right here.
And we're just going to wait a little longer.
Yeah. And then nailed it.
I like that you started with 2 fails.
I had so many more than just 2. I had so many more than just 2 in the last 2 weeks, but those are the ones that I decided were like my bigger ones. And then as far as nailed it in a good way, again, so many highlights, but I have to say the biggest one was the Moxies with the drones. And, you were a huge help in that, and like getting the girls, like kind of figuring out how we're going to approach this whole dancing drone competition that Droneblocks and Dronebots, I think those are the ones that are co-sponsoring it.
Shout out to AUVSI who sponsored your Moxie Girls.
Yeah, we could take one team.
Which is $450, which is a big chunk of money.
Huge chunk of money. I think their total was like $500 with everything, out the door.
This is a middle school only drone dancing competition. So you got to have at least 2 drones. It's 2 to 4, right?
2 to 4.
2 to 4, where you code these drones, they synchronize and do a dance. And the first week we sat down, we're like, all right, we got to introduce them to like, what is the science of drones? How do they work?
And that was amazing.
I got to hang out there. Ryan was helping Sophie. Sophie didn't know Ryan was helping her, but the 2 of them were just like feeding off each other of like what they could do. And then we said, we got to get them flying, get them excited about drones.
It was the
they
best.
all like, and then it was so cool, like how many of the girls' hands went up that have never flown a drone before.
Never flown. And they were so immediate. Like, they were so quick to do it. And not one of them was afraid to crash, though.
Yeah.
Not one of them was afraid to crash. They were afraid to catch the drone in their hands, but then not one of them was afraid to, like, make mistakes. And that is always the biggest obstacle. Is like you can't teach them how to fly drones if they are not willing to, like, fly the drone. And then what I loved how Celia shared her story about the drone that she got. What was that story? It was
like she crashed into a tree.
It was like Christmas something, a Christmas gift or something.
And that was the last time she ever flew that drone.
Yeah, and it was like so unforgiving, right? This one mistake. And that could have really been a roadblock for her, but it didn't. It wasn't. And she just jumped in, and the amount of like laughing and smiling, and just they were so cute and creative. And then the challenges that you came up with for them, and then taking a picture and videos and all of that, and just seeing their faces out there, like, and having other people walking through. And I loved how was it the volleyball
team, there was a visiting volleyball team come in, and all of a sudden all these girls are flying drones there, and they're walking by.
It's all boys walking through,
and it's so cool to see these girls flying these drones. And how excited they were. And like they were, we did a challenge. It was a little windy, so we wanted them to take an aerial photo of like the direction of their house, but we had to bring that down just because the telos, like that wind, the flag was just like whipping. And so we're like, stay low. The girls, nobody crashed. They were just so excited. And
they were careful. They were careful. Weren't
drone safety was a big thing we talked about.
Yeah, and they were really good about that, and they took that to heart, and the way that they approached it. And I could not believe what they accomplished in that amount of time that we gave them, and then so they had that day, and that was, both of us were just so giddy, right? Just seeing those girls, and it actually felt like such a priceless moment that you're just thinking like, what a privilege to work with these kids and to be able to introduce them to this. And we've walked away just feeling like $1 million. But then the following week, that's when Myra came in, right? And again, shout out to our beloved Myra Romano. And she is a children's book illustrator. And she came in, I think actually you had the idea of having her come in and talk about storyboarding. Oh, no, she had offered about storyboarding when we were talking about children's books that they are going to write for an assignment in December. And then she came in and talked about like how to lay out kind of your plan in the story, and spent the whole meeting with the girls and got them all set up and worked with individual groups with me. And that was so cool. And their ideas, of course, I want to tweet all of them out, but I want to keep them under wraps too.
But then this drone competition, the girls have 2 minutes to create a dancing drone thing that they code. They need to add music, they can add effects, and they're doing this whole like ensemble in 2 minutes. And it's so important to kind of tell a story. It is fast when you think of like coding a drone, and it's a quick tournament. Like literally you have like a month to work on this from like start to start until you need to submit your final project. And the cool thing is that, Myra came in, got these girls excited, and I told you need to tweet those videos out, and you're like, I'm hanging on to these. These are a competition. But you'd get goosebumps hearing the things that these girls want to tell in their own story.
They're amazing.
They truly are. And the fact that they flew drones, and then now they're telling stories, like storyboarding their whole story out, what they're going to do. And then tomorrow they're going to start with the Droneblocks, like coding one drone and getting everything into Ink to tell that story. It's truly amazing.
Yeah. Well, and then I want to talk more about that, but I just want to say something about Myra really fast. We always talk about how important community is, and how we couldn't do a lot of the stuff that we do without so much support from others, whether it's like literal support where somebody comes in and helps us, or just financial support, or just sharing stuff, that we do, or, that we get so much support. And Myra coming in, she's a mom of 3 boys. She doesn't have a dog in this fight at all. But the fact that she sees value in that, to spend her time to come in and to mentor those girls, it just was incredibly important to me, and to what, and for the girls, and for them to see this female that is doing this in her life, and that's, she built time in for them. And that always blows my mind when people do that. And you just realize like how special the community is that we get to work with, that people are willing to say like, what can I do to help? Because I can't the things that you do to help for this and the things that she does to help with this and what Lori Grabham does, all of that. It's like, that's how we're able to give these kids these higher level opportunities. And it's because it takes so many people. It takes a village for us to be able to do this,
It truly does. And the things that Myra does with the Procreate app and the Apple Pencil, I want to pick her brain and have her show me how she kind of goes through that process, because what people are doing on Twitter with Procreate is just, it's mind-blowing.
It really is.
And our big thing is to try to get 30 Apple Pencils between us, which Apple Pencils are expensive. They're $100 a piece. And, if one of those goes missing, I'd lose my mind. I'm like, how do we lose an Apple Pencil? But the things that people are doing is just, that's that different level of artwork and like what people are doing with those things. And that's our big goal. But then you even talk about, I told you I was going to be here at 8:30, and you're like, "You okay, bud? I'm gonna send out a search party if I don't hear from you." And then you're getting stressed because tomorrow the girls are starting with Droneblocks, which is something that we haven't had a lot of success with last year, or any success being able to connect the telos. And the telos are a DJI drone where in Droneblocks it basically runs this whole competition. And you were getting a little stressed. You're like, it's not working. I'm like, all right, don't worry. I had to run around, do this and this. I'll be there. And we were really positive. Nothing was working. We were trying different apps.
Nothing was working.
Going back and forth. You were reading posts. I was watching YouTube videos, and we couldn't get these things to actually go through the code. We could get it to take off, and it would just like hover there, and we could abort mission. And we couldn't get the
lucky.
Yeah, if we were lucky. And so we spent probably, what do you say? Probably at least 4 hours today trying to like work out these kinks.
Yeah.
And then you talk about the community, and then all of a sudden we send Lori a text, and we're like, we're running into these issues, what do you think? And, speaking of community as well, bringing it back a little bit, just last week, we have 10 telos between the two of us, which are mostly yours, which are all yours.
They're not ours.
And after International Drone Day, we had 4 that were not flying, and we were so bummed about this, and we were going back and forth, and Lori took all 4 of those, and she calibrated them, fixed the props. I think within crashes that we switched some of the props last year, and we didn't pay attention where A and C props needed to be.
Good to know.
And then now we have 9 of our drones back up, part of this fleet for this competition. So amazing that she did that for us, because that was one of our summer goals, to kind of get that done.
Yeah, and I don't know what we would do, because we don't have that knowledge set yet, so that was incredibly time, that's like a time commitment for her to take that on. And yes, we did a great job recording what they were doing when they were not flying the way they should, but it was really, really amazing that she took that on.
And made us feel so much better too. Yeah. It's like, we're going to be out over $400 with these drones that no longer work, and they're back up. That's why we love the telos. The telos are truly our favorite drone. It
would be a really cool thing to have, though, online, like people that know about drones, that you could send a video or a picture in and say, my drone's acting like this. Can you give us direction of where to go? Wouldn't that be such a cool thing for us? Because you and I are willing to do the work. We're willing to do it, but it's so hard to navigate some of these things. And when you're doing something that a lot of people aren't doing in your industry, then you're really left on your own to figure it all out. And
that's the thing. Tough. We spent so much time trying to find a YouTube video. We couldn't get the Droneblocks to connect. Lori came in. She was going through the same struggles that we were. She was having a hard time, and she was getting frustrated as well, because we had one that was connecting, doing everything we wanted to do. And we figured out that, from one post, that the firmware needed to be updated to the latest version. And then once we updated, and then...
But we didn't even know how to do that.
Yeah.
Because that was even confusing.
And then between the 3 of us, we all had certain niches that we were doing certain things. And we updated all of these drones just so they were ready for tomorrow for these girls to come right in. Because if they just came in without us putting in this time today, and it was probably longer than 4 hours.
It was longer than 4 hours.
It was definitely longer
than 4 hours.
But so these are all updated. They're ready to go, and it's not going to be the smoothest process in terms of getting them ready to go. But tomorrow they're going to be coding these drones on Droneblocks and starting to tell their story.
Well, and for us, we have wanted to have drones in education for now. This is like the third year. Like we've really, this is something that we've talked about from the beginning of Moxie. And, you know, we tried to get the drones early and we got a version and it wasn't super user friendly. And, you know, we just keep coming back to this, keep coming back. And so it's amazing to be able to do this for Moxie. But like knowing now what you and I have access to and what we'll be able to do with that is just, it's like a double amazing feeling, you know?
And I'm excited to see where this competition goes, and just how much people already invested, you know, from our own Sierra Verde community, giving back to these girls and getting excited and really getting behind them. And you got to tweet out those videos, because these videos, they will
really
give you goosebumps.
Good. They are good. But, you know, like, again, I hit the jackpot with this group of girls. However, what I love is that these are the conversations that girls on our campus are having, and they don't think that it's weird that these are conversations they're having. And that's a huge shift, you know. That's a huge shift to see themselves as like, you know, when I had said to them, I'm like, you guys are contenders, like you guys could win. And I said, you know, it might be a little tricky to get you to Texas. And they're like, we'll start packing our bags, we're going. Like it was very much like they don't see obstacles, they see themselves as like they're just gonna crush whatever they go for. And I am just amazed by that, you know.
Well, I like how you started off with your failed it before I get into my nailed it this week. As you know, October is a rough month for me. I have 2 birthdays in the month of October. So for any parent that has birthdays in the same month, it's a financial, it's a tough month all around. But I survived October. We are in November, and anytime October, I love celebrating my kids' birthdays. But I'm like, whew, the storm is over. And both of my kids, they both got lucky scooters for their birthdays. And
those are sick scooters.
And they are sweet scooters. And not to make anyone feel bad, I'm still riding their mini razors as they're bombing around, riding their lucky scooters. And these scooters are awesome. And this is something like, you know, from back to teacher night that my kids saw Brady doing all these cool tricks. And, you know, we can't wait to have Brady on, talk about his love, his passion of scootering. And we got to encourage him to get his own podcast going on the scooter life. But I was out there riding with my daughter, and I was like, oh, look at the sprinklers on. Let's take this shortcut. And let's go through. It'd be like going through a car wash.
I think you genuinely saw this as like a Hollywood moment, like with light filtering through and the water.
I had like a little rainbow in the backdrop. And as I took the lead, I'm like, follow me, I got this. Now, something you might not know is water and scooter wheels do not get along. I mean, this thing just like hydroplaned so fast, and then I went flying full force like Superman above my handlebars, landed belly flop on the cement, and then my daughter put her scooter down, came running to me, she's like, are you okay? And then you know when you're hurt and you just pop up and you're like, I gotta walk it off. I nailed this like wipeout so bad, and I feel like my internal organs have been rattled by this like wipeout. And I was just telling you, like, Ryan took a nasty spill last week. I'm like, that's it, everyone's wearing their helmets, I got to get back onto my strict parent mode and knee pads and everything. And I took it bad there. I could have lost all my teeth. It could have been.
You could have lost all your teeth. You genuinely could have. And I will say, for all of our listeners, this happened like while he was, you know, here, and you came in, and I would never have known that you had just totally wiped out. It was only that your daughter that dined you out later, but you shook that off like a champ.
I did. I had to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still here. I'm on the podcast. I didn't take my scooter and go home.
Internal bleeding. But
Yes, and that's the thing. You said, you're like, what's the difference between, you know, like falling off a skateboard or a scooter? And like when you fall off a scooter, it's instant. Like a skateboard, like you always have your balance and you have your feet, you know, so you're never like connected to anything with your hands. And this thing just hydroplaned, slipped underneath me, and I just went Superman mode, and it was bad.
Yeah, I'm like, I do wish that there was footage of it, but you know, we'll just have our visions in our mind.
I've painted the mental picture there.
I feel like we're there.
Now, my nailed it. You know, we've always been huge supporters of grants, any opportunity to get kids into STEM competitions. And earlier in the year, we talked about the Diamondbacks grant, the Sun STEM grant, and then the Fiesta Bowl Wishes for Teachers. Now, we follow up on the dates when they release these announcements. We put them on our Google Calendar. We share them with each other. We're like, oh, today's the day. Did you get the email? And then I got this email from Wishes from Teachers, like, make sure you have your phone off from like 3:30 to 4:30. And then you've been having some problem with your spam email.
Tons of problems with my spam, yeah.
And then I told you, oh, it's probably in your spam. You're like, I can't even get into my spam. You're like, this is not a good sign for me. I didn't get the message. And then we started out watching the live stream.
That was so much fun.
Oh, it was. And kudos to like Wishes from Teachers for like how they did it. In years past, they've just like all of a sudden, they've had celebrities like call, but they've released the full list like
I thought it
at a
was
time.
so cool.
So what Wishes for Teachers does, it grants $5,000 grants to 100 teachers. So that equals $1 million, right? Is my math correct?
I am going to go with it, yeah.
Okay. I know they give $1 million away to teachers and 100 teachers throughout the state to grant their wishes. And it was, so we started watching the live stream. It was me, you, and Sam. Everything's live. They have celebrities. They have this whole like green screen setup, and they're calling people.
Cool.
Yeah, the green screen was awesome. I mean, there's a whole room of green screen. And then my son noticed right away that it was a green screen. By their card was flashing. I even had to think like, no, they can't. But it was like a really nice setup. So we're watching, and they're just filling dead air because nobody's picking up the call. Nobody's picking up the call,
and for them, bless them.
And they're FaceTiming people, they're calling people, and they're just filling up, and they're just going through these people, and nobody's answering their calls. But then they start, people start picking up the calls, and they're excited. Some are FaceTime, some are on the landline. Ryan's like, why are they calling from that old school phone? They literally had the red like Batman phone.
What did Gletty call it? The nuclear phone or something?
Yeah, it totally was. Like it was so classic. And we were saying, we're like, these people aren't even excited. If they called us, like, I was like, I would do an aerial, and I can't even do an aerial. Like, I would be that.
I think the sprinklers were on that day when that was happening, and you said you would run out into the sprinklers.
I would go slip and slide and just on FaceTime just to show them how excited and how grateful I was for that opportunity.
Well, it's huge. Like, I think that your whole thing, and that's how we felt too, is that we wanted to like convey to them like what you're doing is like nobody's doing this, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and so like we were just going back and forth about how excited like we would be to get this, and like when you do so much in terms of the number of hours we do for the announcements and all these different classes, sometimes like not your wings get clip, but like sometimes you feel deflated. You kind of hit those walls, and you want those things to kind of reaffirm like all the cool things that you're doing in your classroom to get kids excited, to get people on Twitter excited, to to really push like educators forward. So I had to drop Mackenzie off at dance. I left my computer with you. You said you're still going to watch. And then I drove past you, and I thought you said it's over. Like, I was like, it's over. Like, I can't believe it. Like, no one was a winner. And what did you say?
I had said, I said, it's still going.
Okay.
I said, I had to go get Ella. That's what I was telling you, is I got to go get Ella because I had to pick her up from school.
Mind you, this is like at 25 miles per hour.
I know. Yeah.
So like,
it's weird that something was lost in translation.
And then Ryan goes, "What'd she say?" I'm like, "She said it's over." I'm like, so.
And then you pulled it up, which was awesome.
So then I pulled it up, and so I got home. I pulled it up, and I was just sitting there watching them. And the coolest thing was like hearing all the past winners, like how this impacted your classroom. And this is something that we've been talking about, like it's an opportunity to change all teachers. And like we got Sheer to fill it out. We were going back and forth. We're like, Sheer, just fill it out, get it in. And we're watching, and I was like on this like tape delay because I was like going back from a story. And then many times on this podcast I've talked about never answer strange phone calls.
It's a true story.
This time a 480 number came in, and I picked it up. And I wasn't like queued up to the live stream. And this poor girl, she was like so nervous, like when she was about to call me, she didn't know if I was going to pick up. And I actually have the audio here. We're going to try to do our first audio on the actual call. So it was just great. Here we go.
You have to probably, did you hit the volume on?
Oh man, I got my volume off.
Oh yeah, we turn off the volume for the pod, Okay, let's try again.
Oh, you know what? This is the video. I think the audio doesn't work. Look, she's so excited.
How does the audio not work?
I don't know, because
I have it.
I think
you
Liz
keep
was
talking.
I think Liz was doing it on a screen testify.
You go ahead and talk.
All right, so you have it. So anyways, so I pick up this phone call, and I'm just so excited already because I know what this phone call is. I don't know who the person is. I'm just like so thankful, and I'm just like losing my mind because I pitched this like crazy innovative idea that I was just so excited about. And you were the one that really pushed me towards doing this. You're like, you need to put this idea in because no one else is doing that. Do we have the audio, Mrs. Scofield?
Yeah, but hold on. I got to figure out how you, let me just, how do I, oh, here we go. So if I play it like this.
With the Fiesta Bowl.
What? Oh my gosh! I'm just watching the live stream.
Oh my gosh. So do you know what's coming? You were selected to receive $5,000 to make your wish come true. And I see on here your wish was to provide students with a Nintendo lab.
Yeah, the Nintendo Labos.
That is so amazing, and I'm so grateful that I was able to give you that great news.
Oh my goodness, my students are gonna lose their minds.
Oh, I'm so excited. And you'll be receiving an email later from charities@fiestaball.org, so keep an eye out on that. And congratulations again.
Woohoo! Thank you!
All right, enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That was amazing.
I'll keep it going. Oh, and I got cut off there, but she was like, he was already woohooing on the phone.
Oh my gosh.
My only regret was I didn't do the Copenhagen hootie hoo. You know, like I wish I pulled off the hootie hoo, and and then my wife heard it later that night, and she was so embarrassed for me. She was like, I can't believe I know you, and I was like, I felt like I needed Sam there to reaffirm my excitement and passion for like what this is going to mean for our students. And the Nintendo Switches, like our big thing is like bringing gamification in the classroom, and with this, like it was a crazy idea. And this is something that me and you talked about this summer. We're like, oh, look what this guy is doing. He had this like huge stack of Nintendo Labos. I'm like, how did he do this? And that was like one of our, like we always talk about, like we have no clue where the school year is going to take us. And that was like our idea, and like you pushed me for it. You're like, go for this, like just have a crazy idea. And I'm like, I just think it's too crazy.
Well, sometimes we play it so safe on those grants, and and sometimes we need stuff.
Well, safe is for us being safe is like still pushing the boundaries.
It's true. But sometimes we'll do that. But then for this, like we've gotten to a place where like we really just want to be able to do these amazing things. Like we really want to do like these big ideas. And again, we're at another place, which we find ourselves a lot, where we're trying to do something that nobody's doing. So it makes it really kind of challenging because it's not on people's radar. People don't look at schools and go, well, yeah, they should have Nintendo Switches. Like they're not making that connection. I think drones are starting to become more not common, but it's not so like out there for schools to be connecting with drones, or, there's certain things, but like there's not a lot of schools doing Nintendo Switches, but they should be. Yeah. I was so glad that you put in for that.
And you were so happy for me, which I was so thankful for.
It was amazing.
And you knew exactly what I put in for, and like you were just so excited the second they called my name. And the cool thing too is like so many people in my STEM PLC, they were watching the live stream too, and they were just so excited. So just to have that that community, that support, and people were just so excited for the idea. And like former teachers that I taught with, saw my name on the list. It was truly just like one of those like highs as a teacher and educator that just kind of gives you that extra like oomph, to do what you do and work so hard. And you think about like spending 4+ hours trying to fix these drones so these girls are ready to just come right in tomorrow with no glitches. And it felt so great because that was our goal this year, is to I don't think we really understood like how important like esports are going to be, or like what it would mean to kids. And
it's going to be
huge. And even like when the host and the lady was talking about like she's like, now we got to look up what are Nintendo Labos, what are these things? So it's like that education piece too, that what if they take that and they buy that for their their own kids for Christmas, or just that knowledge of like what we're doing. So it just felt so good to have
that was a huge
have a crazy idea kind of be celebrated in that sense. And like I thought it was too much, and you're like, no, go for it. And
it's the best.
so it just I'm still glowing just because when you have these ideas and you want to do these things, and we know that we're going to do it right, we're going to get kids excited, and this is going to be something that's going to go on for years and years. And we've already taken this one idea. We don't have them yet. We haven't received the check, we haven't received the follow-up email. Email us, Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
But the fact is that we're already taking this and turning this into, do we say 6, 7, 8, or just a 7, 8? I think we just said 7, 8.
7, 8.
Like our first esports club, which would be the Rocket League. For those that don't know what Rocket League is, it's this huge thing in terms of like cars playing soccer, basically. Have you played Rocket League before?
No.
I have not either. But you know what?
We're going to.
We're going to.
We're going to.
And so so now we're like, all right, how can we turn this? So now we want to turn that, and then which will next year turn into the kids building the towers and the gaming mice and the monitors
excited.
And
which links back to when Sam was here and we talked all about this huge thing, this world of esports, and how much we want to be a part of that. But the whole switches is right at the end of the year last year when you helped me set up the rewards day for my 8th graders and we brought in the switches, and you see all the things that you can do with them. And then when you did the Mario Maker or whatever with Ryan, and you just start seeing that all these seeds started getting planted, and then we did not know where it would take us, but this is something that we feel really strongly about, something that we're 100% going to do, and to be able to offer those things to our students, and then students that might not be they learn in a different way, or it's going to spark kids that are more focused like this, their minds work like that, and to be able to offer that is just the coolest thing, and just competitive. This is a big deal,
Yeah.
So I'm super pumped.
And the cool thing is that this is something that, we think about it, I think Tony said 19 teachers in Deer Valley were among those 100 teachers that received a $5,000 grant. So you think about all that money that's coming into public education, our school district. Our good friend was a recipient.
Oh, are you talking about Danelle or Deb? Well, there are two.
Yeah.
Danelle, who's a dear friend, she did something amazing for her students at O'Connor, and she put together, I guess, suicide rates are just sadly really, really skyrocketing. So there's these kits that they wanted to use their money towards to really try and combat that at the high school level, which is pretty remarkable. And then Deb Moore, I don't even know what hers is for. I'm gonna have to look into it, but
something awesome.
Something awesome.
She's
She's
so
up at Ridge.
Cool,
she is a powerhouse.
She's a rock star.
She really is, and she's doing the rocket thing. So I see how you did that. Yeah. But to see these teachers that are really just trying to just do things that are extra. It takes effort to do these grants, so kudos to all the people that put in for that. And Danelle, she really, it was same the deadline came up and she was like, oh, I'm so tired, I have so many things, but she was like, I feel like I owe this to my kids, and she did it, and then when her name got called, I was already having a heart attack over you, I genuinely was dying, and then hearing her name, I just lost my mind. So
you did. You were. And then that wasn't even the highlight of my nailed it of the week. 2 days later, we both put in for the APS Phoenix Suns grant, which is a STEM-oriented grant, which is our wheelhouse. And I put in for the EV3. Right now I have 7 EV3 bricks, and I wanted to get to a 2-to-1. They're like a Lego robotics, motor and all these sensors, and so much you can do on MS Make code now in terms of no longer remember the software. We needed that software downloaded and the iPads. And so my big thing, it was code. I forgot my title. It was code.
It was clever though.
It was code in. I don't know. It was a good title. Titles are a big thing for us. Anytime we do a grant, we're tweet it out, show them that we have a social media presence, but also a title is a huge thing that we do. And it was so cool. The Phoenix Suns, they let me know that I was a recipient of a $2,500 grant to support this project, and it was so cool. Do you have the title yet? Okay.
I do, yeah.
So within 2 days, I've literally all week, I've just felt like I've been walking on clouds here. And then my title was Code and Program and AI. Oh my.
Yeah, that's clever.
So cool that, that they saw this and they support it. And the fact between the Fiesta Bowl and the Suns grant, it just it's a week that I'll never forget, and it kind of really celebrates like how hard we work for all these little things. And we have a lot of stuff, but we work hard for all this stuff and upkeep and make it, finding innovative ways to use this stuff, I think is the biggest thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, and again, robotics. Yes, I know that is something that is, schools have. However, again, that kudos to APS and the Suns for seeing value in that and knowing how amazing that can be in education. And so I just love that. Like, I think you're right. What it does is it shows that there's people that back our dreams and that see value in what we're trying to do. And it's really, really important for us to be able to have those moments to see like, okay, the people are saying like, yep, I believe in that. Take that and run with it. And we'll help, fund that, because this stuff is not free.
But then when you talk about exactly, like when you talk about like 4 years ago, like we were trying to do these things to get drones in the classroom, get this type of technology in kids' hands, and then how accessible it is today, and the price, like even with like the new DJI Mavic Mini,
so cute.
It's so cool. Like when you think about those prices, how they've come down, and what these kids are doing. Like Enzo was in 3rd grade last year. He showed up with his own drone.
That was cool.
He's like, man, I love flying drones, and it's so cool to kind of see what he was doing, like with these type of technologies.
Yeah, I love it.
Now, changing course here. This weekend, we have the Sierra Verde Gala, or is it Gala?
I don't know. I've heard people saying it both ways, so we'll just say
What do you
either.
say?
I always thought it was a gala, but but everybody's saying gala.
All right, gala. All right, so this is our first annual gala dinner and auction. It is Saturday, November 9th. This is being put on by our wonderful Sierra Verde PTSO.
Yeah, they've worked so hard.
$60 per ticket. And you get dinner, you get to hang out with our amazing SV staff, you get some of the prizes are truly amazing. I mean, Phoenix Suns, the Coyotes, wine tasting, you name it. They have these awesome things that they're auctioning off. They are also auctioning off. Are we doing 2 more lunches? We're doing 2 more lunches
I'm happy
as
to
well.
throw it in there. I don't know if they did, but I would love that.
I think they're in there. So we're doing lunch and robots with me, 2 lunches with Mrs. Scofield. They do so much for our campus. We had to give a nice little plug, even though it's pretty late in the podcast here. But it's going to be a fun night to be had by all, and it's going to be at the Arizona Broadway Theater at 6:30 on November 9th. It's a Saturday.
Yep.
So with that being said, so we support you. Come out, encourage our schools. All this money kind of goes back. It's our first annual gala. I'm on Team Gala. You're on Team
Gala. And that's good because then we already do the GIF thing, so that seems consistent.
Yeah.
It seems good.
And we also do, what's the other one from Seinfeld?
Oh, Kibosh.
Kibosh.
It's
I'm
Kibosh.
on Team Kibosh.
It's 100% Kibosh. And I would love to hear other people support how I pronounce it, so just please make sure to tell me if I'm right. Which I know I am. Anyway.
All right. Yeah, all right. Well, then I think we could even go back to, like all the cool things that our PTSO does for our teachers. They're doing a great job this year, really supporting like projects in the classroom. Bingo night was an awesome night. You had to fend off people from getting my pizza. I had to pick up Mackenzie from dance, and my pizza that I pre-ordered, well, you pre-ordered for me, almost went missing.
I guarded that thing with my life. It was literally the last pizza there, and people were eyeballing it, and I was like, I will defend this.
And at our bingo night, there was standing room only. It was such a cool thing. I wasn't close at all on any of my bingo things. Ryan, I was just so proud of him. He had his like little crew. Shout out to Eva, Carter, and Ryan. They're first graders. They played all 10 cards, doing all the numbers. And
I do not play bingo.
You do not play bingo. You've often said like you go to bingo, but you never win. What was your quote? You're like, you
actually have to play the game to win, but I don't play bingo.
But you said you felt like a winner, like you were walking away with these memories.
I felt like I won because I walked away with all those happy memories. I had so many fun memories that night, but it really was a great turnout. And I feel like bingo is one of those things. It's like one of the reasons that I love SV is we are very much a community school. And that is a night where the community comes out and it's so much fun. It is. It's so positive.
A blast. And last minute, like I think the day before, we were having our assembly before bingo night. Maybe it was the day of and I said, put Mrs. Scofield down for 2 lunches.
You did.
I
I think it was the day after.
And then she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, she would love this. The kids would love it too. And so this is a part of, I raffled off 2 lunches. I did mine lunches and robots. And I put you down for 2, never even got your approval, and it was so cool. So then Mrs. Copenhaver was one, and then announcements, and then we auctioned off two guest appearances on the announcements. Like
no,
so,
3. There's still a
3.
person that I don't know who's floating around.
If you're listening, our 3rd winner of the.
I don't know who it is.
All right, and so it was a pretty cool moment for me because, kids grow up, and I had this one group of 3rd graders who are now 7th graders. Love these kids. Like, we had such a fun year. And then 2 of my 7th grade, or 2 of my former 3rd graders, they had to pay money for these raffle tickets, and they put it in, and they both won, and it was so cool. And Aubriana was actually sitting next to me, and then you said Mr. Grohall was like, I had to put so many tickets in there,
hilarious. But he wasn't even like begrudging about it. He was like, that's all my boy wanted, and I got it, and like I just wanted that for him. Like, it was important to him too, which is cool.
And I was touched that there was 2 of my former 3rd graders in 7th grade wanted to have lunch with me and play with robots.
That's
and
so cool.
I did my last one the other day. You kind of hung out with us, and so me, Carter, Mason, and Blake, we had a blast having lunch.
So happy.
And then we had so much fun playing with the Ollie robots. It was, and I talked about all the things that happened last week. That was like one of my highlights right there.
Yeah.
And my week just kind of snowballed and got better and better from there.
Yeah, I should say so. But like, that was really, really cool.
But you got to tell us about Kylie's reaction.
Oh my gosh, little Kylie, just so sweet. I don't even know how many times she came up to me that night to say, I hope my name gets pulled. I think you should be the one that pulls names. I really feel like you'd be lucky and you'll pull my name. And she's cute. And so I know Kylie because I subbed for Mrs. Raymond for 2 weeks before I took the job here, and in kinder. And it was quite 2 weeks. I had a lot of funny things, but Kylie was someone that all
those girls.
Yeah, all those, Rosalie, and
Bella
there's
so
Bella
B in
many.
that group?
Yeah, Bella, and she's a twin, right?
No. Bella B's Kaylin's little sister.
Then I don't know.
Was she not in the group? Okay.
I'm not sure. But then
they all come in and you're like, I had all these girls.
Yeah. Well, then there's who was the other one that I wanted to give out? Sydney. Oh, Sydney was one of the girls on the that her name got pulled for announcements. But so all these kids that I've known since kinder that I've watched grow up, and Kylie's just been one that has been really special. So when her name got pulled, her dad said it was like at a concert, like a teen concert, and she just burst into tears and was so happy and came running up, and it was so cute. And so I came up to the front and gave her a hug, and she's just so excited. So we'll definitely do our lunch soon. But that was really special.
But the announcements, you busted out like right away. So we had two winners at bingo night.
I wasn't planning on it though. That was the best part.
Two winners, and like that's what encouraged me. I'm like, man, I gotta pay my price here.
But that was what was so cute about Sydney that Monday.
Yeah. So like 2 announcements. Sydney in 4th grade was one, and Jed in 3rd grade was one, which is one of our anchors' little brothers.
Scooter boy, Brady.
Yep, Brady, his little brother. They both won. Sydney showed up that Monday
with her certificate.
Yeah, with her certificate. to be on the announcements, which was like so cool.
It really was. I just was so, and I don't need a lot of forewarning, but it was just really amazing when she walked in because she was so excited, and we just kind of, I always say how fortunate I am to work with this group of kids in the morning, but I really am. They're just so tight-knit, but then when somebody comes in, they just absorb them. Like they make them feel welcome and they make them feel a part. And I really, really love who they are and how they treat other people. So they just brought her in and we made it, I hope, a special thing. She left pretty happy, which was cute. And then Jed was such a character. I mean, that was a huge. And
you let Cade go in as well, so you had all 3 brothers. Yeah, so you put all 3 on there.
And that was good for Brady to have that time with his brothers. And it was just, again, we're doing these things for kids, right? But like we get so much out of that. Like we really do. Like how you said how much that meant to you, how touched you were to have Aubriana and Carter choose that to spend that time with you. I mean, they're seventh grade. That's,
Yeah.
that might not be something every seventh grade kid does, but like that speaks volumes about the impact that you've had on their life and that they want to do that. So it was such a cool thing. I love being able to support PTSO like that. And I really love that time that we can connect with the kids. It's been amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and those are just like spur of the moment things that we kind of come up with, and we're like, all right, let's do this and this, and it was really such a great moment for me.
really
Like
was.
I loved it. I had so much fun. I'm doing Aubriana's this week. We had to like map everything out so we can get their lunches, everything, got their orders in, and
He has
I'm
pictures
like,
and videos on Twitter.
yeah, it was just so much fun. I had to remind the boys that I am the teacher. They are still the students as I smoke them in our
Oh my
race around
gosh,
there.
you whooped them down. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
But like that's why we love what we do, and it's like it's so reaffirming sometimes when you just have those little moments. They could be a big moment, and like when you talk about like lunch with those boys versus Fiesta Bowl and the Suns Grant, like I couldn't even tell you which one was better, but like just spending those time with
Yeah.
those kids, like it's the ultimate of like what we get to do every day.
Well, and it seems so like cliche, but when they talk about, as the holidays near and you talk about like what to give kids, it's experiences, it's memories and experiences that really just that's what's so meaningful to people, everyone. And like that time that those kids had, that's something that they'll take with them. And that is so special. And it's experiences that, and for us as teachers at the school, when the PTSO asks us to give stuff to work with, who cares? I mean, yeah, it's great to get donations for a basket, but for us to be willing to throw ourselves in there and say like, I'll spend this time with these kids, I think that is huge.
Totally. And so moral of the story is if you want to have lunch or show up on the announcements, get to the gala, people. Get to the
That's
PTSO
right.
first
That's right.
annual gala, $60 a ticket, silent auction, buffet dinner, Arizona Broadway Theater. Be there or be square.
I agree.
Now, this is a tough week for you personally. You're having the celebration of your dad's life this weekend, as well as the release of Finley's movie. So I think it's kind of bittersweet where you get such a high, and you're kind of dealing with one of life's biggest tragedies, and I know you've been having kind of a roller coaster of emotions in terms of dreams about your dad, and kind of getting everything all squared away. How do you feel going into the weekend here?
Well, so I will not be at the gala because I will be at this event.
Duly noted.
So I don't want anyone to feel like I did a trick thing there.
Did you just say gala? I thought I was on Team Gala.
I don't know. Whatever.
Gala.
I won't be there. But yeah, so I'm going out to California. When my dad passed, we did not. So because he was Muslim, they do things very quickly. And so the family didn't really get to do anything to, kind of have that closure or do anything to celebrate him in the way that we want. And he was a very social man, and he kept in contact with tons and tons of people around the world. So there are a lot of his good friends that wanted to come out for that, and there hadn't been time. So this weekend is that opportunity. And so I'm so looking forward to it, but it's odd because it's a celebration, 100% a celebration, but we've basically put off in our minds that, that he's not there. And so it will be like this place where all these people that have this common bond, right? We're all connected through my dad, will come together, and he won't be there, and it'll just be so odd, and to, probably get to like talk about the things that you didn't get to talk about yet, and to kind of honor him in a different way, I think will be amazing, but it's going to be really, really tough. And then it's real. And then because we get so busy, we're so busy, and it's a blessing because you don't have to really sit down and grapple
Adults.
with things. Yeah, adult. And so, it'll be very much like a raw thing, but so healing and so necessary. And then, in conjunction with that, having Finley's movie come out, it comes out Friday. So I'm feeling pretty certain that you'll see it before me, which is great. But I'm just like,
Ryan has been counting down the days. Ryan's like got it on the calendar. He knows when it's coming out.
My students are all talking about,
Tell us the name of the movie.
Oh yeah, Playing with Fire, and
comes out on November 8th.
November 8th, and my niece Finley Rose is in it.
Playing Zoe.
Yeah, and is that what her name is? Yeah, that's right. I'm really bad with that. So
tell some of the other cast members. I mean, there's
we have John Cena and John Leguizamo.
Great pronunciation.
And, Keegan Michael Key, who's the guy that does the subs too. I'm a huge fan of his. Judy Greer. And Christian, what is his last name? I don't know. Anyway, I'll have to look that up. But he's the brother. And then there's a girl in it, and I don't know her, but her name is Brianna. And she's actually in a ton of movies like Deadpool and stuff. But I don't know her. I don't know her actual name. I'm not even sure if her real name is Brianna or if it's the movie name. It's tough to say. I'm getting my information from a 4-year-old, I would like to say. So anyway, a lot of people. And it is, but the hard thing about the movie is that my dad was very much a big part of, during the filming. He was up in Vancouver for several months, and I think we talked about that at the beginning.
He even had his own director's chair.
He had his own director's chair that the director made for him with his name on it, and we still have not found that, which has been pretty sad for us. But
the cast took a liking to him.
Yeah,
and I was really I was pretty dead set that he was going to like make a cameo in this movie one way or another way. The way he was like working all these angles.
Yeah, it's going to be so strange. It's going to be so strange that he won't be there to watch it with us. But, he experienced that film in a way that I didn't. So, that's...
You never made it to the set, correct?
Yeah, I didn't get to go to the set. And my dad was very much at the set, enough that he felt like he could give directions and pointers to John Cena and other cast members. So too much on the set. But, to have that. So it's like this... It's not even that my dad's thing is not a celebration. It is a celebration. It's just it's a huge loss. And then Finley's thing the next day. And so it's just, I don't want to say circle of life because there's no circle there, but it's just this odd thing. It's just kind of like, I don't know how intertwined things are. And I don't know. I don't even know how to process it, but it's going to be a lot of emotions this weekend. That's for sure.
I know. I'm excited for the movie. I can't wait. Too. And, just seeing your niece on the big screen. I mean, last week they had the premiere in New York City.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Her and John Cena the whole cast rolled in on this retro,
these vintage
fire trucks.
Yeah.
And then the billboard. I mean, I feel like every other YouTube video is a Playing with Fire commercial. Ryan's like, "There's Finley. There's Finley." She says this one line, the boom boom line.
Yeah,
and
I don't know if
Ryan.
I'm not sure what it's referring to, but I think it's not good.
Yeah.
Something that smells bad, that's for sure.
And Ryan laughs every single time. And I mean, Ryan just has the first time we saw it this summer. I mean, their advertising budget is through the roof. It's from Nickelodeon Films. If you haven't seen the trailer, check it out. This week they just released a Playing with Fire game, which I thought was pretty cool. Finley didn't make an appearance on that. I was pretty bummed about that.
Well, this is Cena's first
leading.
It's his first leading role. So he's been in movies, but I think that's why this is his first big leading role, which is cool. It's cool for him, and it's special for Finley to be part of that.
And I did have a tough conversation with Sam the other day. Remember before Sam, you guys headed up there for spring break. Sam was telling everyone he's getting his picture with John Cena. He's like, take all of your allowance, take it to the bank, put it on me, get a picture with John Cena.
Yeah, that was sad.
Unfortunately, Finley got sick the week you were up there.
Oh my gosh, she
never
was
got
so
to set.
sick, and then it just went through wildfire. Poor
Sam is still clearly better. Sam loves Cena. He's loved Cena for so long.
Cena.
I remember in third grade he was yelling that catchphrase. What was it
John? What did he say?
360. I don't know.
Oh, he would say it all the time too. That's so funny.
And it's so cool, what John Cena does for for kids, Wishes for Kids. What's that foundation? I'm blanking.
Yeah. No. What is that? Oh,
I can't think of it. But every time I see them, he's got me in tears. But such an awesome celebration coming up this weekend of people coming around all over the world to celebrate your dad. Make-A-Wish Foundation. Glad that you got that there. Mm-hmm. I know it's going to be hard for you, and I know how this week has been daunting for you, but the fact, these are our lives, and we want this podcast to kind of talk about all the things. And I was like, is Jess doing all this stuff? And you're like, barely.
Well,
hopefully
she did
Jess
a lot of
listening.
stuff. She did a lot of stuff on the front, but
then,
I think now.
But I said to you, I was like, how are you doing all this and balancing, school and all those little things? And my heart goes out to you, partner. And I know you and your family are going through. Jess is calling in right now. I think she heard us talking about
she's
her.
like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. she's like, I'm on the live stream, but we can laugh about it. Like, I know, I'm going to feel like I'm with you and your family as I'm sitting there eating my milk duds and eating some popcorn and laughing at Finley. But I know this has been, one of the most trying times in your life, and now Jess is FaceTiming in. I think you got to answer it.
I will.
But we're gonna end it on that note. Anything else you want to add, my friend?
I don't know. It's just good to be back.
Yeah, it is good to be back. I mean, 2 weeks. Hopefully we don't go on a hiatus like this again. I love the 2-part series. Something that you said to me the other day about Halloween, you said, make sure you enjoy it. I don't get those moments. My kids don't go trick-or-treating with me. So I really had to make myself rally and kind of soak up every moment of like this past Halloween with my kids. And this morning you were talking, you're like, make sure you call your dad a lot, like you don't want to miss out on those opportunities. And, those are the conversations that I appreciate that we get to have in terms of being parents and friends. And, I just love that we get to do all these tech adventures and do the podcast. But I know how tough this week's going to be for you, bud. And, the whole SV community's here behind you. And,
I appreciate it.
Again, with that, call your parents, people. Be
That's
kind.
true.
And don't ever stop changing the world. Now, if you love this episode of the Nailed It Wall, there's plenty more like that. Make sure you subscribe. And if you can't get enough of us, you can follow me on Twitter. You can find me at Mr. Lane, the STEM guy.
And me at a positive proton.